Hello and welcome to part 2 of Ring of Honor episode 13. We have 10 matches to discuss today, so I'm not going to waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Up first was Macross Cross and Very Morales and LSG versus The Righteous and Stu Grayson. The Righteous and Stu Grayson worked really well together. I'm not used to seeing Stu this violent, so it was a nice and very welcome change. It seems as though the Righteous are being quite solidified as a tag team that are quite dangerous, and the Dark Order came out during this match and they were distracting Stu a little bit because I don't think he was expecting them to come out, so he was getting a little bit distracted and focusing on them. Dark Order didn't seem very happy with the fact that Stu is now seemingly with the Righteous, but at the same time Stu seemed very conflicted. So at the end of this match, where Stu picked up the win for the Righteous and Stu Grayson, at the end of the match there was a little bit of a confrontation of sorts with the Dark Order and Stu Grayson. So it will be interesting to see where they go with that. I'm hoping that Stu stays with the Righteous because I do like seeing this more violent side of Stu Grayson. Up next we had Tracy Williams with Rack Titus versus Shane Taylor with the Workhorsemen. The power of Shane Taylor. Absolutely insane things. This was quite a hard-hitting match, and Tracy is definitely a bit like Zack Sabre Jr. in the fact that I would call him a technical wizard. I really enjoyed his work in this match. Again, I don't really know too much on Tracy Williams, but this was a great first match for me to learn about him. Something that the commentary team picked up on was that both of these wrestlers were former TV champions, and Shane Taylor picked up the win here with a package pile driver. I really did enjoy this match, and I can't wait to see what is next for these two guys. In this battle, the size advantage was just a little bit too much for Tracy Williams to cope with. Up next was Athena versus Promise Braxton. This was Promise's debut match in Ring of Honor. Athena is just absolutely brutal in all of her matches, and she has no problems mocking her opponents, doing anything she can to sort of rub salt in the wound, and is an extremely hard striker. I love her style, and I really did enjoy this match. I know I say this for every single match, but there wasn't a match on this card that I did not enjoy. So Athena is victorious after the battle that they had, and she has to make a statement after her match as she is attacking away at Athena, Promise Braxton, and then Kiera Hogan appears. So if you remember that I mentioned in the last episode, in part 1, I mentioned that Kira and Athena had a little bit of a back and forth. It's been continued on to part 2 of this one, and yeah, so Kira just got her back and attacked her and got revenge. So I think they are definitely setting up for Kira versus Athena at some point soon. We had Duelistico with Jose the Assistant versus Tony Deppen. Now, Tony Deppen is someone who I know really well. I've learnt a lot about from his various UK tours and his work in GCW. Duelistico is a fan favourite, and the crowd really seems to adore him, and I have to admit I will be slightly biased here. I do love seeing good guys like Tony get some great opportunities like this. It was a great back and forth match, and I do hope that we get to see more of Tony Deppen in Ring of Honor once he's healed and able to return from his injury. Duelistico picked up the win here via a submission. Moving on, we had Miranda Alize versus Sky Blue. This match got off to an insane start. It was so fast. Miranda had no problem taunting the crowd and mocking Sky Blue, calling her, I think it was a little child or a little kid or something along those lines, which ultimately Sky felt quite insulted by. But Miranda was just picking her apart throughout this match, and then all of a sudden it comes to a very quick end where Sky Blue just picked out the win from out of nowhere. It was an incredibly fast ending. I wasn't expecting it to end when it did, and it just came out of nowhere, but I really enjoyed that surprise element. Up next, we had Cole Carter and Zach Clayton versus Darius Martin and Action Andretti. I will admit, just like I did in the last episode, that I'm not too familiar with any of the talents in this match, apart from Darius. So I've got a little bit of research to do after these 2 episodes. One thing I do love about Ring of Honor is there is something for everyone, and that was quite noticeable throughout this entire episode. I think you could find something that would suit what you want to watch quite easily. There was quite a few fast tags, which I find quite fun because it keeps the match moving quickly. I find it difficult when the tag team matches are slow, so I do like it to be as fast as possible, action filled, high flying, lots of fast things. So this was my kind of match. Cole Carter and Zach Clayton made it a priority to try and take both men out, so both Darius and Andretti out, targeting one at a time, just trying to take them down, but ultimately Darius and Andretti picked up the win there. Up next, we had Nick Comoroto, I'm probably butchering that last name, so I do apologise, versus Blake Christian. It is so weird for me to see Blake Christian as the good guy in this company, because I'm so used to seeing him in GCW. He gets booed a lot in GCW, so it is quite weird for me to see the transition of Blake Christian being a fan favourite to absolutely not being a fan favourite. So this was quite a change, and in GCW he's got the nickname of No Heart, and in Ring of Honor he has the nickname of All Hearts, which is what I'm more familiar with. Blake seems to fit in really, really well with Ring of Honor, and he did a fantastic job of humiliating Nick throughout the match. However, the power of Nick is not to be underestimated because he threw Blake around quite a bit. The All Heart chants were quite loud consistently throughout the match, and Blake got the victory by distracting Nick with a chair. So he grabbed a chair and put it in the corner of a ring, and I believe Blake walked back to the other side of the ring, got in the ring, and as Nick went to pick up the chair, it allowed Blake to roll him up. I think that was the ending. I hope to see more good stuff from Blake in Ring of Honor at some point soon. Up next we had Diamante versus Trish Adora. Trish Adora I know from having, I believe it was a 60-minute Pure Rules match with Tony Deppen. I think that's what I know her mainly from. So seeing her here, which is really, really good. Diamante is quite the strong striker, as is Trish Adora. There was some Trish Adora chants, and both of these wrestlers are really good. I like both of them. I like both their styles. I want to see more of them. I can't say enough positive stuff about both of these two wrestlers. I believe Trish Adora is currently training in the New Japan Pro Wrestling Dojo in America, so that's going to be quite interesting to see how that plays out. Wherever Trish goes is where I will follow her. Same for Diamante. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head how many matches Diamante has had in Ring of Honor and Trish, but Trish does seem to be in her zone at Ring of Honor, and I do love that for her. Up next, we had Slim J with Ari, Sonny and Jeeves versus Penta with Alex. Penta had no problem chanting out to the crowd multiple times throughout the match, which the crowd seemed to thoroughly enjoy. The crowd were very loud and active throughout the entire show. There was a lot of chanting throughout the entire show, and I'm just very glad that they didn't seem to die down at any point. Slim J had a crew with him, so he had Ari, Sonny and Jeeves with him, and they tried to take apart Penta multiple times outside of the ring, but Penta has the crowd support and Alex to try and help him get through all of that. Penta is definitely becoming one of my favourites, and this match is definitely one you need to watch. It's a highlight on the card, and I do think that this is going to be one that's highly underrated. I love how much Alex hypes up Penta. Penta is a great wrestler, and having Alex by his side just makes it so whole because of the amount of support that Alex gives throughout the entire match. It's just incredible. And finally, our main event was Samoa Joe and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal. I think it's Sydal, but I don't know. I'm probably butchering that name as well. I do apologise. Samoa Joe is the Ring of Honor TV champion, and Zack Sabre Jr. is the New Japan Pro Wrestling TV champion. Just in case anybody watching did not know that. Zack is a technical wizard. Again, I do like calling technical wrestlers technical wizards. They connected so well in this match. I really enjoyed the tag team of Samoa Joe and Zack Sabre Jr. I like the fact that there was a little bit of tension between Samoa Joe and Zack Sabre Jr., as they are trying to prove who the better TV champion is, and I'm sure that that match is going to come up eventually. I'm hoping it's next week. But yeah, there was a little bit of tension. They were both trying to show off to each other. Some of the tags in and out of the ring were a little bit, how do I word this? They were a little bit unwanted by the other person. Both of these tag teams were really good, and I really enjoyed Christopher Daniels and Matt working together. I don't know if they have tag teamed before, but I did enjoy them tag teaming, and I would like to see more of both of these tag teams. I'm sure the tag team between Samoa Joe and Zack Sabre Jr. isn't going to last long, because they are two different people altogether. But I'm really enjoying the fact that Samoa Joe's the sort of the big guy, and one who will just strike you down, throw you about, doesn't care. Zack Sabre Jr. is the one who's got a mouth, and will certainly put a lot of submissions onto you. So yeah, I do quite enjoy that tag team. Samoa Joe picked up the win here by putting, I think it was Christopher Daniels in the Coquina Clutch, and that concluded the 19 matches of Ring of Honor episode 13. I will be watching Ring of Honor next week, or this coming week, because it's Thursday. I will be watching that. I will be watching it on Friday because of the time zone differences. So I will definitely be speaking about that as well. So look out for another episode of me talking more about Ring of Honor. And yeah, as I learn more about Ring of Honor, I can't wait to see what happens next. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you for another episode soon.